the screen go away. Good morning and welcome to Being Your Own CEO. This is our success circle that meets on a weekly basis at this time roughly. And we get together because we're solopreneurs and we enjoy getting together with each other. We enjoy each other's company. We also enjoy sharing information with one another. And for me, it's kind of about providing support and sharing and creating relationships. I'm Lowell Ann, and I've been in business since 1996. I can't believe I'm saying that. And I've been busy helping people get where they want to go. So welcome, and our first item on the agenda, since we're a small group, I will dispense with the ground rules and just get right into introducing ourselves, and then we'll get to our topic. So Jay, you were here first, so you get to go first.
Sounds good. Hi, my name is Jay. My company is Magi Studios, and we help people get online, ranging from small business to large corporate companies. We have a proprietary software called the Magi Platform that helps people mitigate any issues that they may have, specifically reputation management and social media. Right
on. Thank you. And I have to tell you, I was in there yesterday trying to do a few things, and we'll have a chat about that later.
Okay, sounds good.
So the next person who came in was Paul. Welcome, Paul. How would you like to introduce yourself this morning?
Well, I'm going to have a rant this morning. I'm on a mission to stamp out sales breath. That's all I got to say about that.
That's a rant, and I think that's a something that we may want to focus on a little bit this morning, based on some of the new members that are coming into Google Plus, etc. So we may want to come back to that. So welcome, Paul. Nice to have you here. And Wiwick, I see you're well. You're really a busy guy this morning, or I guess it's this evening over there.
Yeah, it is. And I am seeing a couple of problems here, so I think probably I'll have to jump out and come back in again. Sorry about that. There's something going on here.
Okay. Well, yeah. You're welcome to come back.
Yeah, just a minute.
All right. And Craig, welcome here. I'm glad you found some time. I know you've been busy.
Oh, I've been, yeah. I believe the correct visualization would be a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
Oh, God. Oh, well, do you want to take time to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Craig, and I help small businesses get found on the internet. That's basically what I'm after.
Right.
I also help, not necessarily my local area, but out across the world and the nation here. So.
Yes, you certainly do. You certainly helped me with a number of things having to do with my blogging and my website. So, and we're far away. You are in where?
I'm in Western New York.
Right on. And
not in that city, but yeah, Western.
Right. Right. Just south of the lake, right?
Yes, we have Lake Ontario just north of us, so.
Right on. And I might just remind everybody that both Paul and Jay are from Victoria, British Columbia. on Canada's left coast. So anyway, I'm glad you found.
I like to call it Canada's best coast.
Oh well, I don't know. I've lived on all three, so I love the left coast, but there's some really fabulous things about the other two as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So, you notice I say that Canada has three coasts. So many people hear that phrase, coast to coast. But now it's, once in a while you hear CBC say, from coast to coast to coast. So, and Vivek, you're there. Have you got your issues solved?
Not really, but I think yeah, let it. It's saying it's not able to load some apps. So anyway.
Oh well, we can see you.
Yeah,
so and hear you. So do introduce yourself, please.
Namaste. My name is Vivekanand, and VivekTechnology.com is my website. I believe in living a simple life. I believe in thinking differently. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said, simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. So, simplicity is the aim, but to get there, one has to go through sophistication. So, I can help you through that journey, and project management, software development, Android app.
Boy, this guy knows lots. You forgot to say where you are.
Oh, I am in UK, United Kingdom. It is now 5:15 in the evening here, so it has been a sunny day today.
Have you had your walk yet?
Yeah, I had been for a walk. I took a few pictures today, so I can share with all of you later on
right
Google Plus.
Right on. Well, welcome. I'm glad you made it. I know you've been sort of busy on another platform and came over here, so I appreciate that. So, and last but not least, I'm Loweland Fulsang. My business is Workstyle Lifestyle Consulting. I love working with solopreneurs, helping them get better organized and get more focused to what they're doing so that they bring their businesses to success. And I have an announcement this morning. I have posted, and it has gone live, a new product which I'm calling the Portable Business Coach. So if you go to my website, loweland.com, you'll find it there. It's a tool to help you determine where you need to put your time and energy now in relation to your business. So this is the first time that I really mentioned it in public. So you're the first to know.
Do you have an affiliate program?
Not yet. All in good time, Jay.
All right.
Let's get on with our discussion. We've been chit-chatting here. And oh my goodness, there is WeWec is at my website. I see it there. So that's a distraction. We're here to have a conversation. So thank you. So our topic this morning was you plus Google plus your business. And we had a little bit of a quick chat in the green room before we started about just exactly where we were going to go with that. And it was actually Paul who suggested that we do that last time. And Paul, would you like to share what happened? You mentioned in the green room that you mention Google Plus to people when you're out and about. Would you care to share that with everyone?
Yeah, and yesterday was a classic example. I had someone had asked me to join to be part of my LinkedIn group, and we were discussing how I could help him. And I asked him what his situation was regarding Google Plus, and he said, "Well, I'm on Google Plus." And I said, "Well, what are you doing?" And he said, "No, I've signed up for it, and that's as good as it's got." And this is a reaction I get very often from people, is that they think they should be there, but once they are, have no idea what to do next, or whether it has value. Or I think that there's been a lot of changes, and people hear about this and they think, well, I'm not sure what I want to do with it. I don't think they have a clear idea of the value of it.
Mm. That's been my observation as well. Many people, you know, I'm hearing something kind of similar for other platforms as well. And as I mentioned in the green room, I decided that it would be sort of fun to expand out. And I've heard various people say, well, if you're going to be on Facebook, if you're a solopreneur, the place to be, or the way to go, is within a Facebook group, which I've determined is not unlike a Google Plus community. And so then we all were sort of messing around with the concept of the culture that happens on various platforms, and how one dives in, and what do you do, and so forth. So so the other thing, I mean, that issue that you brought up, Paul, the whole thing about what is the value, why would I want to be there? And I find that when I'm working with people, they don't get how all the pieces in Google link up together, and how, you know, the efficiency that you can create by being there. So that's one piece that an awful lot of people don't realize. And as time goes on and they use their smartphones more and more, it's going to become more and more obvious, I think. Certainly, you know, all the Google things are very smartphone. They're going in that direction, the mobile direction. But from a business perspective, why would I want to be on Google Plus? So for me, when I came to Google Plus, it was out of curiosity, and I kind of would go in there every once in a while, and I would look at this and that and the other thing, and be extremely intimidated by it all, especially the whole thing about actually going on a hangout with a whole bunch of strangers. Ooh! Was my original reaction. But then when I found out there was such a thing as Google Hangouts on Air, and those are conversations like this that get broadcast, I began to realize that there's a potential here for something that I wanted to do. I had been on another platform long time ago, that Paul, you would remember, and there were all kinds of technical problems with that. Perhaps it was before its time, and so I was looking for a platform where I could do a group thing, and that would be stable, and that I could use from a group process perspective. So, but I still didn't know how to do it, and I took a course or I had a session with Ronnie Bincer, who was the Hangout helper a long time ago. And then through that group, he had a community, and through communicating with various people within that community, the penny dropped for me. I discovered, oh, it's about how we help each other and how we interact and how we engage with each other, and how that level of trust and knowing each other begins to develop in a very gradual way. So that's the background for me, and I've certainly made a lot of very helpful friends on Google+. So, but as I go over to Facebook, I'm at the point where I'm starting out in the same way. My thought is, when you join a new community, you got to lurk for a little while until you kind of get what it's about, and then you begin to see a few people and respond, etc. And I see that Jay has added something here. Let's put it up. Let's see if I can do that. There, engagement is the key to the social media gate, and I sure couldn't agree more. It is about engagement. And so the problem with a lot of businesses, I think, is that they when they're thinking about their business, they're thinking about marketing, and marketing in their mind seems to be to kind of push the stuff out, rather than engaging on a sort of a one-on-one basis. Okay, I've talked enough now. What about you folks? What kind of experiences have you had, and what do you observe? Anybody want to take a dive in?
Sure, I'll jump in with an echo.
Right. Oh, still?
Mic check.
Check. We're not hearing an echo.
Okay, I'll just take my headphones off.
I do.
So I think it's important to understand that there's different audiences within different social media platforms. And I read a recent article by someone by the name of Tai Tran. He is the manager of Apple's customer care Twitter account. He's 22 years old, and he teaches social media at a university in California. And it was actually really surprising to read. I'll share the link presently here. And it was really neat to see him, or to read some of his stuff. And basically, you know, the majority, and it was actually great to see him, and he said, listen, you know, so actually, I think I've got something I want to. So here's how he breaks it down. So Facebook and Twitter are for communicating with customers, potential, post, and current customers. Snapchat and Instagram are for reaching millennials, so the younger generation. And Google Plus, he says, is for SEO. But what you want to do is you want to make sure you align each social media strategically. So, for example, if millennials is not your target audience, then there's no real use to spending your time in Snapchat and in Instagram. But if you're wanting to do things that can affect your search engine results, then go into Google Plus, you know, and that's obviously where, you know, your audience would be as well. So, you know, it's a really neat study, but and it was actually neat to hear him say, like, I think, you know, Google Plus is a very important social media platform to jump in and to engage with people, right? And he he also tied in YouTube with Google Plus, which I found quite interesting, because YouTube is, in essence, a kind of a social media platform. You know, it's a video social media platform. So, you know, I think you need to determine your audience. You need to determine where your audience is and dive right in. Just because, you know, all these social media platforms exist doesn't necessarily mean you need to be in there and engage in there, you know. My preference is Google Plus. I like it because of the reason of it affects your SEO, you know, and I think it works quite well. And it's highly evident in our client wheelhouse, you know, as the results speak for themselves. So, and that's all I have to say about that.
Jay, if you can find that article, that would be wonderful for us all to read. I would love to read it. Yeah.
I wanted
Jay, sorry, go ahead, Craig.
I wanted to say thank you, Jay. That was a great article. Very, very illuminating.
Just to sort of further go on with what Jay was saying, when I am introducing his wonderful tool to people, one of the things that we do is we talk about where they are, where their presence is, and I find that a good many people are in places that they have no idea why they're there. Yeah. They've gone to, I don't know, social media camp, or they've gone somewhere and they've learned that this tool exists, and they think, oh, it's there, I'll use it. And so it goes right back to, if you don't know where your audience of buyers are playing, then you'll never be able to connect with them, and that's, I think, a step that a lot of people, the bells and whistles and the exciting stuff you can do, take away from the simple fact is like, okay, but where's my audience? And that to me is I think you're better to be on a platform that is where your people are than on many.
Oh, so true. So true, so true. I might just add to this whole thing. I must admit, I get curious about things like Instagram and all these other platforms. You get a curiosity, and you go in there, and then you don't know what to do. But for me, I play around a little bit. But then I have to come back to where do I get the most engagement? That is got to be where you want to go. Now I notice for example, I'll just take Instagram for an example. I did that because it was a place to share, I don't know, photographs that I take when I'm out and about around Victoria. And so I share those, and there are all these people that are sharing, or that are following me, and they are some people that I connect with on other platforms. And one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of the people I know from here, I know them on other platforms as well, and that doesn't seem to me to be a useful thing to do. If you and I'm thinking about Facebook again. I did invite a couple of people to come into that group, just to because I knew they would know what I was up to, but just so that I could mess around a little bit with the idea of learning the culture. And so we talked a little bit earlier about each of these platforms has a culture of its own, and how does that happen? And when we come onto a new platform, we need to lurk around a while to kind of discover what that culture is and how does it work. And of course, as Jay mentioned, the culture kind of depends on the demographic, doesn't it? Yeah. So, anybody else? You've been. I noticed that you're on numerous platforms. What's your experience?
Um, my experience, I have been using Facebook mainly for personal, family-related things, and as someone who is proficient in all social media and so on, was saying, it's Facebook is like, of course, now they are getting into summer and it's barbecue time. It's Facebook is like your barbecue in your back garden. It's a barbecue party, and you invite your friends, people who you know, um, and that's what it is. And uh, imagine you invite someone, and then that person goes around distributing business cards. What will you think of them? That feels really weird. That feels really out of place. So that's my take about Facebook. Um, and about Google Plus, I must say all the new clients I have had in the past 3 years have been through Google Plus.
Interesting. But I mean, when you talk about the backyard barbecue, I mean, to some degree, the principle that you've been saying, you wouldn't run around and dish out your business card to everybody there. Well, that's also true on Google Plus. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of time for somebody who just all they do, like they post one advert after another.
That's true. That's true. But on Google Plus, you can talk about the business, whereas on at a barbecue party, you're not supposed to talk about business. You're supposed to enjoy the weather, food, whatever, enjoy the company, and
Yeah. But your social media platform can also be a networking event, a business luncheon, and not just a backyard barbecue. I think it depends on how you enter, or how you start to engage in the first place, right? I mean, if you're using a social media platform for personal reasons, and then all of a sudden you start adding business elements to it, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of an oil and a water mix there. But of course, eventually, if you shake it up, it's going to meld together. But it really does depend. But I think it's personally okay. It's just there has to be a delicate mix, right, of
that's
engagement, and then selling.
I agree. With Google Plus, the engagement is key. Engagement. Yeah, your level and your point about people who just give their business details and don't respond to. Yeah, I have disconnected myself from them. I've removed them from my circles. I have even blocked a couple of them. So,
Yeah. So could we talk then about, I mean, we talk about engagement and that sort of subtle mix that's there. So how does one engage? How does one engage on Google Plus?
Well, there's a couple of ways you can go about it. You can either create the engagement, so put things out there like a poll or a question, or share something humorous, something that would essentially, it's no different than water cooler talk. Hey, did you check out the Victoria Royals game last night? That was awesome. I hope they win tonight. Boom, and you're going to create some engagement there, right? Or you can jump into someone else's engagement and engage with them there. So it's either you start it or you jump into someone else's post and engage from there, right? And it really just starts from there, You know, I personally, I've been experimenting with Instagram. I have an Instagram, and I don't post too many things, but the things that I post are just subtle random things, you know, and it blows me away how many people start following me, like specifically within my own city and my own community, how people, and they don't know me from Adam, right? You know, because they don't know who this guy is, right? And but using these hashtags like YYJ and Langford and all this kind of stuff, right? That's how I try to find other people and follow them. Mm-hmm. And so it's neat. It's really neat, and I think that Instagram is something I think people should start to pay a little more attention to. Snapchat, I'm not so sure about these days right now, but because Snapchat is a short, meaningless relationship. It really is. I mean, so how do you engage with something like that, right? Where it's just this short, meaningless because literally it's just like once the video is done, whoosh, it's gone. So more or less.
So Jay, are you telling me you're too mature to have short, meaningless relationships anymore?
Yeah. No, I'm too married. I don't live in Bountiful, so yeah.
Right. Well, so you mentioned putting something up that would be of interest. What popped in my mind for me, the things that attract me are the educational things, the things that will help me understand the current trends and the future trends, and help me understand the way the whole online world works. So that's what attracts me. One of the things that I've noticed is we talked about a certain group that there are all kinds of people who it was suggested to them, and they've all come onto Google+, but they've neglected all of the important pieces. Putting their picture up, a picture so they can be recognized, putting up a banner that says something about them or their business. It doesn't matter which one, but taking the time to do that, and then taking the time to put the information about themselves in the about place, so that when people meet them, they can go and see where they are and what their business contact information is, and where to find their website and all of those things. And what I've noticed is that a lot of people just throw all that information into a posting. Well, I mean, that's a waste of time, because eventually that will just roll away. So, and then up pops all of these adverts. Buy this, do this, all of that, and I mean that's a sure way to turn people away. There's nothing that's not engagement.
Unfortunately, that's not entirely those people's faults. They've been educated. They've been educated. They've probably purchased some course online saying, "Oh, you can make money doing this. Here's what you have to do." You need to literally spam the social media platforms until you either get banned and then just create a new account, or this is how you monetize your social media account, right? So it's these so-called gurus that and I use that term extremely loosely when it comes to people doing training courses and stuff, right? Where they say, oh, here's what you have to do. Here's how you make money on Twitter. Here's how you make money on Instagram. I know I wrote about a course recently on my affiliate marketing blog, affiliateresources.org, about a program that teaches you how to create a large following of Instagram followers, and and then how to monetize it, right? And it's just blatant spam techniques, you know. It's just
Yeah.
So, but people read these sales letters from these sales pages with stars in their eyes. Wow, I can do this too. I can make money as well, and they fall into this trap, you know. And then it's this ripple effect that happens within the social media world, you know, and you get people that will start following you, or you follow them because at one point they look like a legitimate person to follow, and then whoosh, all of a sudden you've got posts on, you know, male hormones or you know, how to take care of a pregnant cat.
Or how to get rid of belly fat.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a real common one.
Yeah. So, you know, so that's why, you know, I find that it's minutiae that you can just kind of push to the side and not worry about it, right? It's energy that doesn't need to be spent, you know, looking at, complaining, and you know, unfollowing them and stuff like that. It's just whatever. Just move on, right? Excuse me, can you get out of my way? I'm trying to go forward.
Well, and it's kind of surprising to hear people like Paul's connection that he mentioned. Oh yeah, I'm there. Now what?
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously they kind of get some form of now what over on LinkedIn because there was communication happening.
Yep.
Etc. So,
and LinkedIn isn't an easy thing to get rolling. There's a lot of you know, there's a lot of steps that you have to go through to really kind of engage within there. You know, personally, I hated the swimsuit round. It was horrible. So you know, but you know, you know, so it's just, you know, at the end of the day, LinkedIn I think is neat. You know, I've yet to use it effectively. I think that's going to be my next testing ground, but you know, and it's funny. And the other reason why I think people might be doing the spamming technique or people kind of posting junk is, you know, they're hesitant to share their life, you know, their personal world, you know, so they put on this facade and do that, you know, so or they want money yesterday, you know, they want to create an income fast. Right? One of the most common questions that I get inside Wealthy Affiliate, which is a platform that I teach inside, is how long does it take until I make money? You know,
right.
All the time.
Can I buy food next week?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sometimes there's this act of desperation. You know, I got a surgery next week. Can I, you know, make money?
Yeah.
This and that. And, you know, you got to really feel sorry for those people. But anyways, you know, it's you know, all of these issues kind of trickle down into social media, right? And just something that I think that we have to, you know, live with. You know, so.
So the other thing that I notice is, especially people when they're new, they and which I assume are kind of part of the lurking process, because I've found myself doing the same thing. So just plussing or liking or whatever. I mean, it depends on what you're doing on which platform, but. On Google Plus, for example, it's Google Plus. When you plus someone, it's a way of acknowledging I read it, or I agree with it, or I see you. That's really all it does, and it is kind of a first step of engagement. But it on Google Plus, eventually, it's got to be more than that. So. The other piece that I think is worthy of bringing up within the Google Plus world is the communities and the collections. So when Jay said, "Oh yes, Google Plus is where you take care of SEO," Another phrase that I've stumbled on was Google Plus is another place to make business friends. So here is where you connect with people that you have a common interest with. And so how do you do that? How do you find those people that you have a common interest with? And that's through the communities and the collections. So for Paul's friend, I'm there, now what do I do? They could be encouraged to go into Google Plus and do a search. There's a box at the top of the screen where you can type in words that would connect you with interests that you have, whether they be business interests or social interests. There are lots of people doing lots of social things within Google Plus. It's not all about business, but it is about connecting with people that you have something in common with, not that you already know. So so if you go in and find a collection, for example, of that links to an interest, then go in and start watching and start commenting, adding something to the conversation. And by doing that, you add a comment. You can add a plus. Maybe somebody put a comment in and you agree with them. The way to do it, to indicate that, is to plus it. But if the way to truly engage is to add to the conversation, asking a further question or adding something that you know, or ask, in normal conversation, you ask questions or you add a comment or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people don't understand the kind of the subtle nuances between a plus and a comment.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a way to begin engaging, and then eventually when your confidence level raises, then you can post something of your own. But today it's in Google Plus is not enough to just post something in there for public. It really does make sense to create a collection of your own and post your things within a collection.
Yeah, I've yet to find any major benefit personally for collections. It's been around for a little while now, and yeah. I honestly think it's going to go away. I don't think it's going to last. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm struggling to find the benefit of it.
Well, I'm noticing I get more engagement.
Okay.
In the collection. For instance, I have one collection that's called Supports for Solopreneurs. So I put things in there that I think would help solopreneurs without having to do huge amounts of searching. So I put things in there. I have another one that is about my interest in music, our joy in music. I get lots of engagement there from various people that are interested in music. But the same goes for communities. I mean, you can find communities that are like, if you want to learn how to do something, there's a community for almost everything you want to learn how to do. And some of them are private and some of them are public, and if you want to know how to do something, find a community and post your question in there, and there will be somebody who cares enough to answer. So that's another way. Yeah. So Craig, what about you? What's your experience? You've been on in Google Plus longer than I have, for sure. I mean, you and I met here on Google Plus, didn't we?
Well, as far as Google is concerned, I do like it, like Jay says, for the SEO aspects. I think it's very powerful for those. As far as engagement is concerned, I haven't really got a lot of it. I have a lot of followers, but when, in general, when I post, I'll have about 4 of the same people that respond every time. And so, as far as engagement is concerned, I'm not really getting any of that. When I was over in Facebook with the Crohn's infection site that I have, we've created a group and we've created a page that's specifically for that. That is getting some significant engagement from the people that are visiting our site. It's a, for Crohn's sufferers, it's a new technique and it's maturing as we speak, and so everybody's excited about the potential. So we get quite a bit of engagement over there in Facebook.
In the group or on the page?
Mostly in the group.
So how do people find that group?
Via a link from the site, as well as
okay.
The other half of the team spends a lot of time in Crohn's forums, so she's seen as an authority over there. So whenever anybody's like, has anybody ever heard of this thing? She's the expert that people's, she gets tagged and sends people send other people to her. So
Craig, was she already immersed in the forums before you guys got together?
She was heavily immersed in the forums. Yes, she was in the forums. She's been suffering from this disease for 30 years. It's it's one of those evergreen niches where if you have it, you think about it all the time.
Yes, I'm sure you do. Yeah.
And yeah, so everybody wants a solution, and there just really isn't one out there.
Is the group private or is it a public group?
The group itself is private.
Okay, that is why you created the group, is to have private conversations with people. So the entrance point is either from the website, or from the Facebook page, right? Yeah, so if they like their page, you're invited to go into the group, kind of thing.
Yeah, they have to be approved to come into the group. Although we've approved everybody that seems to have interest. We've only had to ban, I think, one person that was trying to spam us. But
sorry about that.
No problem. Yeah, but it's definitely a private forum. We're talking about medical issues, so
right.
You don't want that out in the general public.
So it seems that in both places, Google and Facebook, if you're creating a group or a community, you can have a public one. You can have a closed one, I think, over in Facebook, where you have to be invited and or asked to be invited. Yeah. And then you can have a private one. And the same goes on Google+. There are some communities that are totally open. You just join it, and there's no moderation. It's just kind of a free-for-all. But then there are some that you need to ask to be invited to join.
Yeah, I think the reason why Facebook is so popular is because they're merely first to market.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and I think if Google was first to market, it would be the other way around.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Well, and as I'm saying, I decided that I would sort of play around a little bit and see what I could learn about a Facebook group. And I'm already noticing some, I'm comparing and contrasting, obviously. So of our group here, I'm looking at our time. We're just about on the hour here, and I know we all have things to do. From your experience in social media, where do you get the most engagement? Craig, where do you personally get the most engagement?
I don't really think I get much engagement in social media. Myself, I haven't learned really the right way to use it, I don't think. Um, I am more at a broadcast level with my social media, and my engagement has not occurred yet, so I don't know how to solve that problem.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting.
Maybe
And
it's because I'm broadcasting and I'm not getting engagement.
Well, I think you have to do some broadcasting, otherwise there's nothing to engage with.
Right.
Yeah, you have to engage with other people's broadcasts, and I suppose that would be where you begin, and then.
Well, what I'm seeing is I'm not getting engagement inside the social media. I am, however, getting lots of traffic, so it is a traffic producer.
That's interesting.
But I don't seem to be getting engagement inside the social media.
Which traffic, or sorry, what social media source then would you say gives you the most qualified amount of traffic?
I think that is Google Plus. There's no question about it. Yeah, Facebook is a waste of time as far as getting people to come to my site. In the niches that I'm in right now. I think if I were to expand a couple of other niches, like Labrador Retrievers, I kind of have a bit of a affinity for them. There's a gazillion people out there, and you can touch any one of those social medias with dogs or labs in particular, and you get all kinds of engagement. Everybody loves dogs. And so I would think that Facebook would be a big one for that, but there's all kinds of communities inside Google Plus as well for labs and dogs, and I even have one guy that sends me the Wolfie of the day.
Cute.
He
Right.
posts pictures of wolves every day.
You should hand them on to me. I love wolves are my favorite animal. I regard them as my totem.
There you go.
So that whole difference between broadcast and engagement. That's something that worthy of us all kind of exploring. So Jay, what about you? Where do you get the most traffic or the most engagement? Now let's talk about engagement first.
Okay, so engagement, because I consider Wealthy Affiliate a community, a social media community, even though it is enclosed, that is where I would get the most engagement, probably because I'm heavily immersed in it. And because I'm one of the live training coaches inside there, that's obviously, and plus I bring a few people in there, so as a result of my own efforts. So that's probably where I get the most amount of engagement. The next one would be Google Plus. So a public space would be Google Plus. Qualified traffic would be Google Plus. So and that's because I invest my time inside Google Plus as opposed to other social media platforms. So, and I think it just really does boil down to where you invest your time in which social media. So if I were to invest heavily into Twitter, then obviously I would probably get the most qualified traffic to Twitter, right? So.
Right, and I'm glad you mentioned WA because I was about to say to Craig, I noticed that he gets a lot of engagement inside of WA as well. He didn't mention that, but
well, that's true, but it is a private forum, so it doesn't.
Yes.
Most people don't have access to Wealthy Affiliates. So
Right.
yes, I have a following in the thousands. So Wealthy Affiliate.
Yeah. So, Paul, what about you? Where do you get the most engagement?
Well, I really only play on LinkedIn, so that's where I get the engagement. It's where things that I'm doing where most of the people that are interested in that type of thing where they are, so that's where I am.
Mm. So do you encounter lots of people over there with sales breath?
Yep.
Just as I mentioned here in Google Plus, there's a lot of people with sales breath there too, just pushing out the adverts. So when you engage in LinkedIn, just for the benefit of others outside, is that mainly inside a group?
Yes, it's almost always inside of a group.
Yeah. Inside your own group or others' groups?
No, others' groups. I look for groups that have something that I'm interested in, and start to, as you put it, lurk and then engage there. And so that's the way I use it, which is no different, I guess, than any other social media platform.
Right. So I think we're getting a message here. It's about where we spend our time, I think. So Vivek, what about you? Where do you get your most engagement? I think you've already answered it, but say some more.
It's Google Plus, and I think probably because I talk about my passion on Google Plus. I don't talk about anything else other than what I'm passionate about. I can talk about. Probably, as you were mentioning, I should talk about music. I haven't been, but I think I should.
Yeah. So where we spend our time and engaging with finding common interests, things that we're interested in. So it still all boils down, doesn't it? Is who is your target client and where are you going to find them? Yeah. I must admit that just by way of a little fun thing, I stumbled on, just by messing around in Facebook. I've always only followed people that I know there, and I've used it as a way to connect with people that I knew in the north, because they're spread all over Canada now, and it's hard to stay in touch with them. So I've used that, but all of a sudden something popped up that from an old school friend, actually, and her children, her grown-up children, and we knew each other very well when we were young mothers and having our babies and doing all of that. It was really fun to connect with those grown-up children, and so there's some value in having at least one platform where you can stay connected on a personal level with all those old school friends and social friends that are so hard to stay connected to these days with people moving around and so forth. So I might just finish off by saying that I really don't have any problem getting engagement and traffic from any of the platforms that I'm in. I seem to have lots of people following me. People follow me, but when I post things, I get the follows and the traffic, but I don't get much engagement. So it seems as though people, the general population doesn't have a sense of what that engagement looks like and how it works, is my conclusion. So I guess it's up to us to model engagement and to talk more about how does one engage. Spend your time somewhere and talk about how to engage. and how to make that how to make it work for people.
Yeah, I think that's a great note to end on. Modeling engagement, is I think that's great. So if you want engagement, then model it. Show what you want to happen, right?
And I really have to put out, just before we close, a shout out to Heather Crafter, because when I set up my community, she did exactly that. We were connected through Ronnie Bincer's community, etc., and I started my community. She was one of the first that came in and modeled what other people needed to do, and that really, really has an impact. So I have to give a shout out to Heather for having done that. So this has been kind of a fun conversation. I hope that our viewers have learned something from this. I certainly have. And so I think it's time to sign off. Thank you, the four of you, for coming and contributing so much to this conversation. And we'll see you again next week. So this is Lola Ann signing off.